the road is really good. It's got this really great tarmac, it's smooth. Lots of bikers on the road today, lots of bikers. Jim's up ahead. Once again, we're travelling. It's a motor vlog. It might come out, but it might not. My speech. Yo, yo, yo. Now, I didn't come into Baylor or Ballur on this road yesterday. I came in on the 112, which meant I came through the mountains, which were steeper slopes, and I vlogged that. This one, I'm exiting out. It's flatter plains. Got the carabao, the basket weaving. It's a really, really lovely area to come and visit. I wish I'd stayed maybe 6 days, not just the 2. Jim went surfing this morning, which was cool. I went surfing, did a bit of water work, but absolutely knackered. My arms are aching and my stomach is aching because I've not used my stomach and my arms for carrying a board in the water for a very, very long time. It looks like there's rain up ahead, but that's okay because the sun's out and we're going to chill out. Jim is slowing down.
I want to ride a carabao.
There we go, look at that. The carabao of life. Yeah, 1 carabao cc. It's not a 150. It's not a 160. It's a 1 carabao mile per hour. Safety. This covers a lot, really. It's not just your safety, it's other people's safety, and it depends on where you're going in the Philippines as well. So let's talk about road safety, because somebody turned around and said to me in one of my questions, do I get scared or do I get frightened of riding on some of the roads in the Philippines? In 2018 I would have said no. This trip I've got to turn around and say yes. There's one road that I found quite frightening, mainly because the people riding or driving or using the road were just driving at breakneck speed everywhere, and it was the 712 from Bacolod down to Salsapay. Very nice concrete road, lots of holes, lots of bits that weren't joined up between paves, so you could hit a rut, and that rut could be anything up to 12 inches to 10 foot apart. But people still travelled too fast, in my opinion, and I had to pull over and I had to stop, and it just became a real nightmare for me, that bit of road. It didn't bode well that it was going south towards Dumaguete, but some parts of the roads on southern Dumaguete coming into Dumaguete from Dawes were really, really nice and very, very comfortable, and they weren't being treated as though they were a racetrack. But south of Bacolod, no. Would I like to go back to that road? No. Some of the roads, the one road I do know I do like is the Route 76 out of Cotabato down to Cordoral. That road was like an American freeway. Really nice, really open, and people weren't abusing it speed-wise. It wasn't being abused, so that was a safety. Worst road, I would say, was on Samar. It was 2 lanes wide, and they're still working on it. Well, they were working on it in 2018, and they're still working on it now, 6 years later, and they've not made it any better. And it was rough, not paved, unpaved, and I came to the conclusion with Jim that the reason it's not repaired and it's not in good state of order is a deterrent to slow traffic down, to slow people down, to keep people within the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit or 20-kilometre-hour speed limit. Because if you made it wide and open, it could become a racetrack. So other roads I liked the road going from Manila out towards Balo. Nice and flat, nice and straight, nice and in good repair. You know, none of these drive and then potholes, ruts and stuff like that. Road that caused me the most issues was out of Dipolog over to Palidagan. That was through the mountains, very, very steep. Quite a lot of it unpaved. They're still working on it, but what they had paved was very, very good. However, it was either a 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 or a 1 in 6 gradient, which I found quite difficult, and that's where I popped out a rib, because I was leaning forward coming down a very, very steep slope for about 200 meters, weaving. One of the roads that I find that's really, really nice and really, really good is coming into Cagayan de Oro when it's dry. When it's wet, don't go anywhere near it. It just seems to be made of ice when it rains there. It's hairpin on hairpin on hairpin on hairpin, and when it's dry you can come around it very, very nice. I don't know what type of tarmac they've used on it, but as soon as the water comes down, everything is aquaplaning, and you're not going that way. You start ending up sliding backwards to the cliff face or into the gully or whatever, or into the other traffic. So that's safety, road safety. Now there are certain areas that you need to be wary of, and you need to raise your game regarding safety, personal safety that is. Cotabato is one of those. Cordoral was another area. There was an area that I didn't feel too comfortable about on Samar. At night time, lots of I didn't feel comfortable walking on the street, put it that way. There was lots of things going on that I didn't like, so I went home and went back to the hotel, stayed in the hotel. Next morning I got out of Dodge as fast as I could, just to move the target from that area, just to make sure that I'm not there. Now there are loads of vloggers out there that turn around and profess to know the security safety levels in all of these areas, and profess to turn around and say, yeah, it's great, it's great, it's great. Well, some of it I don't agree with, because it isn't safe in some of these areas, and you need to have your wits about you. It's like any major city in the world, yeah, any major city, but certain areas I felt, you know, like in Manila, I felt very, very happy riding through Manila. I didn't feel threatened at all, but I only spent 4 days there. I've not lived there, and I've not done anything major in Manila. So overall, 90% of the trip, good. 10% of it, some of the roads, some of the areas, you know, if you've got a curfew at 10 o'clock in the evening in a city, it's in place for a reason, isn't it? So anyway, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, that was it, health. Now, when you're riding, you need to set yourself parameters. I set myself parameters that I'd ride from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I don't ride at night. And the reason I don't ride at night is I don't want to go into one of these ruts or go off-road and find that I'm seriously injured and my health is really compromised. Now, as I said, I was in one road where I was riding down like this and the weight was on my arms, and your arms take a beating in the shoulders when the road is pounding your suspension. So you need to recuperate and give yourself time to recuperate. As I said, I've got body pain down here. It's going away today. It's getting less and less and less as my body repairs and heals. But I popped a rib because I was riding a steep gradient, hanging onto the handlebars and trying to negotiate rough terrain. It was the main road. It wasn't off-road, it was the main highway. It was the AH26. But they're still repairing and making good that road in the Philippines 6 years after I turned around and first went round. Health-wise, rehydrate. You don't realise you're losing a litre or 2 litres or 3 litres of water in the sunshine, but you do. And it does turn around and make you fatigued, and it makes you a little bit disorientated, and it makes you a little bit susceptible to missing things or not being as switched on as you normally would be. The other thing is rain. The roads tend to flood, and when they flood at night time, at dusk, they look perfect, except underneath is a hidden hole that you could drive into. Happened to me twice. When the rain clouds come in around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on Samar and going north, it got really dark, and I drove into one hole which was over a foot deep, and I had to manhandle the bike out. So rain, be careful. You've got distorted vision. It does turn around and cause issues on your glasses or your visor, but it makes the road look inviting, and the road is a hostile environment. I saw lots of people sitting on the side of the road, or trucks that had slid off the roads and slid off the side of the gantries into ditches and ravines, and it was all down to the road was wet, didn't have enough grip. When they start sliding, very difficult to stop. So be wary of the wet if you're coming in. The other one you have to be wary of is inconsiderate road users. I had a couple of times when people were in Toyota Hiluxes and Fortunas that cut me up. There was a gap between me and the person in front that I was leaving for my safe distance. They'd overtake to get into that gap. Yeah, and that would force me to slow down again. That would create another gap, and then the next person behind would then turn around and see that. They can't just drive and follow the queue. They've got to be the first in the queue. That's okay, because you could be the first to die. You can be the first to meet your maker. Yeah, but lots of times that was actually happening. Buses, they'll overtake on the wrong side of the road, the middle of the road, your side of the road, on the hard shoulder. They'll overtake anywhere and everywhere just to get to their destination. And quite a few times I was forced to slow down and move off the road, off the riding line, onto the hard shoulder or onto the dirt track on the road. A couple of times I saw buses force cyclists and pedicabs off the road by clipping them with the back of the bus, and bus drivers will turn around and say, no, we don't do that. Yeah, you do that. Yeah, you do that. I've travelled on the buses. Yeah, I've seen what you do when you drive, and I've seen from first-hand experience how you drive. Yeah, and I've also seen from the road user on my scooter how you drive. Now, not all bus drivers are like that, admittedly, but bus drivers, you've got a bad reputation, terrible reputation. Now, the other thing that I found very, very scary on the national highway and major roads was e-bicycles, e-vehicles, e-scooters are not regulated in the Philippines, so they can use the highway. So you will be going along a 3-lane highway and there'll be an e-scooter on the outside lane. Yeah, and absolutely, that is an accident waiting to happen. Yeah, whoever, they should turn around and have legislation in place. They should not be travelling at 12 to 13 miles an hour on a 70 kilometre an hour freeway. But they are, and some of these what I call scooters, do you know, like the little wheels with the battery underneath and the guy stands on it like a surfboard with the handle, they're everywhere, and no lights. What you do see is you hear this beep 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 when they're turning left or they're turning right, but they're a mode of transport that is quite dangerous, and it needs to be looked at very, very sternly. Saw a lot of that in Manila. People were turning around and couldn't afford a car, couldn't afford a motor scooter, so they bought an e-bike for about 14,000 peso, and off they go. Charge it up every night. That gets their little Johnny backwards and forward to school. No crash helmet, no safety wear, nothing. So, safety-wise, yeah, you have to be vigilant when you're travelling. You have to look at it and be careful of it. Now, every now and again, you'll hear these police sirens, like wow, 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 wow. A lot of that was happening in Cotabato, and then you'll find 8, 9, 10 bikes come screaming by with a procession of cars, and you have to move over. Some people don't move over, and the bikes that are following or leading the pack will move over and pull up the cyclist or the car or whatever and give them a stern talking to. But you need to be aware that when you hear these sirens move over, they're not fire sirens or police car sirens or ambulance sirens. They're a different siren. It's usually a guy standing on a Kawasaki at the front, weaving along the road like that, flashing and pressing the brake pedal to set off the alarm. But overall, a good trip. But if you're going to do it, check out some of the health and safeties that I'm mentioning. Now, when it's wet and you're boarding a ferry, they love to put down these old ropes or steel plates, which makes it as slippery as hell when you're getting on the ferry. So be very careful when you're going onto a ferry. Get on slowly. Try to keep moving. Don't stop, because your wheels will just start spinning when you turn around and try and get up the ramp or get down the row. And always make sure you're there when they turn around and tie off your bike. Some of them don't use padding, some of them don't use ties, they just use your handlebars. Make sure your bike is safe, is secured, because in the middle of the night you can't get on the car deck if the weather changes, and whatever they tell you, it's not always calm. So Saturday at SM, they've got a 3-day sale here today. I've just had Demosa, famous, for my lunch, and I'll post a picture of that. Oh, look at that noodle soup. Really, really, really nice. I've got chop suey, I've got battered chicken, and I've got stir-fried rice. And here I've got Annie's lunch. Annie's at home studying still, so I've got her set 3, which is with the special fried rice, special chicken, and 2 pork asado. And there's my Coke Zero. I'm here, Davao famous. It's we went online today to have a look at Chowking, Chinese New Year. They usually do a show fan for around 59-60 peso. Today it's 109 peso. They also do a pancit canton, which is usually around 60 peso, 104 peso. So Chinese New Year and Chowking have doubled their prices. So we're not going there, we're coming here. This is costing me 195 peso, including the Coke.